We hear a lot of stories about single moms, but single fathers, we don't talk about that often. How has it been like for you to be a single dad?
My children and I all have very good relationships, very loving relationships. They don't talk to their mother. When I coach other men, I have had a number of men tell me, I don't think you understand, Mark, that raising two strong women made you uniquely capable for a man.
Mark, you work with men. First of all, why men only?
You cannot market and message and sell to everyone. You have to pick a particular group of people with whom your message resonates very deeply. And that it kept coming back to men. Men are confused. I think they're confused about who they are.
What do men lose in the race of success and accomplishment?
My partner came to me one day and said, the economy's struggling and your life is a shambles. We got to get out of this. When life becomes challenging, I think that the best thing to do is don't blame others or circumstances. It won't get you anywhere. Look inside.
Big dreams don't come quietly. They demand risk, they demand fire, they demand crazy transformation. Welcome to The Corporate Life, hosted by Hina Siddiqui, CEO and founder of Corporate Influence Media and creator of the Let's Make You Famous 90-Day Celebrity Campaign and media strategist featured across 600 plus global outlets. Join us as we sit with million-dollar entrepreneurs, tech CEOs, and celebrities who share the scenes that shape them. Here, success isn't a headline. It's a human story. The turning points, reinventions, failures, breakthroughs, and bold decisions behind their rise. Because your life is a movie too, and you're the star of yours.
Mark Aylward has spent over 3 decades building companies, creating wealth, and leading teams. He has generated more than $75 million in revenue, built and sold 2 multi-million-dollar businesses, and helped create multiple millionaires along the way. But this story doesn't begin with numbers. It begins with responsibility, with fatherhood, with becoming a single dad to 3 children and learning how to lead when no one's watching. Today, Mark works with men not to make them louder or tougher, but to help them rebuild confidence, integrity, and self-trust after hardship. He teaches leadership the way life actually teaches it, through wins, losses, accountability, and honesty. In this conversation, we talk about what success gives you, what it quietly takes away, and what it really means to lead yourself before leading others. This is not a story about being right. This is a story about being real. This is Mark Aylward, and this is his movie. Mark, we hear a lot of stories about single moms, but single fathers, like it's not very common. Like we don't talk about that often. How has it been like for you to be a single dad?
Yeah, that's a big question, right? It's there was the time that I became one was quite contentious. It was a bit of a battle, and when I lived as one, and I do now, my children are young adults now, they're all self-sufficient, but when they were teenagers, it was very challenging. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday, and it was like, how do you do the work of 2 parents as one parent?
Yeah.
My response to that was you just find a way, and I sacrificed a lot, and I don't say that with any regret. I sacrificed my material wealth, and I sacrificed my time because I made a decision. I'm going all in as mom and dad here, at least for the next 10 years. And because my children need that. And there wasn't an alternative, if you will. And that was a choice, certainly, but it felt like to me, it was the only choice at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So how did you end up there, may I ask?
Well, that's probably better served for the psychologists and the of the world. We saw quite a few of them. My personal opinion on that is that we lost the ability to communicate. If there was disagreement about something, my ex was not interested in talking about anything that we disagreed upon. She wanted everything to go her way. And then the thing that I think probably punctuates it all, Hannah, is that I got full custody of them acting as my own attorney after I fired my attorney. and I'm not an attorney, and I'm a conservative male, and the court system did not favor me. So I tell people, imagine me getting full custody, how bad it must have been. And I think that one of the things that I always asked for, and I never got it until the very end, was what's in the best interest of the children.
Yeah.
We didn't operate with that in mind. I was the only one operating with that in mind. No one else seemed to consider this is not good for these kids, and they let it happen anyway. And then we finally put an end to it in 2011. And my children and I all have very good relationships, very loving relationships. They don't talk to their mother by choice. And so it's unfortunate, but I think it's best.
So, in that chapter of your life, what did you learn about yourself?
You can do anything you put your mind to. And, or maybe I should say, I can do anything I put my mind to. I also became, I think because two of my children are female, strong, bright, feminine, attractive in all ways. They taught me a lot about listening. They taught me a lot about empathy. I can be a little rough. I can be a little loud. And I learned how to temper those things, to use those things to my advantage. And it really helps when I coach other men. I have had a number of men tell me, I don't think you understand, Mark, that raising two strong women made you uniquely capable for a man.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's my feminine side because that makes me a little uncomfortable, but maybe that's a good way of putting it. I have both. I have this empathetic listening ability that really helps me in my coaching. And the other piece of that, I suppose, is I became much less judgmental. Most of my judgment now stays in my head. It doesn't come out of my mouth. I give my girls credit for that because we're all judgmental, right? Some of us say that we're not, but we are.
Yeah, seriously, I agree with you on that. Like for me, like the biggest thing was to work on my judgments. Like though we don't say about it often to the people, but then in our mind, like we often, and especially when we are in that coaching industry, we know how to evaluate people. So then it actually very quietly, uh, gets into the judgment. So where we are quietly judging people.
Yeah. The funniest scene for me is at the grocery store. I'm kind of a nutrition guy and I eat pretty well, but when I go to the grocery store, I look at what people are buying and eating, and I think to myself, I want to pull them aside and say, that's poison. You should not buy that. But I never, it's not my
Yeah,
business.
yeah, yeah. So, Mark, you work with men. First of all, why men only?
Again, I had this discussion yesterday. I remember going around, I was in the court system for 10 years, 9 years, almost 10. So I spent a lot of time in the courthouse, and the court system in the United States in 2010, 2005, 2010 is operating like it's still 1950. Like the men go to work and make the money and the women stay home and take care of the children. And that's fine if that's the choice that you make, but that's not the reality of how the world works anymore. And so the court system was treating me as if I were guilty until proven innocent. And that's the way it treats men still to this day. And I didn't like that. I didn't think that was fair. And when I looked around in the courthouse, I saw a lot of men who were sad or angry or confused or scared. Many of them were all four of those things. And I thought, I've spent my life helping people make progress professionally and personally by helping them find better work or get promoted or negotiate higher salaries. So I can take all that experience because that's the same thing. It's like you want to get from where you are to a better place. That's my expertise. And I found that I was empathetic towards men. And then when I went to look and study the competition for men's coaches, there wasn't any. There's
There are lots of women coaches.
they're everywhere, right? But the men's coaches, The only men's coaches I found were relationship coaches. They were talking about romance and dating and love. And I'm like, that's part of what I talk about, but it's not, it's maybe 5% of what I talk about. Because what I found, Hina, is I can't coach a man about his professional well-being without talking about his personal well-being. They're too closely
Yes.
connected. So those are a couple of the reasons. And the last one is just, I can help everyone because everyone's looking to make themselves a better place. But you cannot market and message and sell to everyone. You have to pick a particular group of people with whom your message resonates
Yeah.
very deeply. And that it kept coming back to men. So I hope to help others eventually, but I'm marketing to men for those reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I remember having a conversation with a guy friend, and we were at the airport, and I was just talking to him, and we were just discussing about there's a lot of pressure on men, right? Uh, we have a lot of sob stories about women, so the kind of victim stories. Of course, of things happen to them as well, but then a few things are made up, I guess. Uh, and then I see that, oh, there's a lot of pressure on men. It's not easy to be a man. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm writing a book finally, and one of the things I did is I researched 12 psychologists and all the way back to philosophers and Stoics that talk specifically about men and then the happiness of men. How do men become happy? How do they seek success? And it's interesting. So I have 12 very, very well thought of psychologists and a sprinkling of older philosophers, the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and those kinds of people talking about men. And what I found was there's been an evolution, and I believe this to be true, that when feminism came, at least to the States in the late 60s, early 70s, when it started to seep in, what seems to have happened, we said women have been oppressed, and so we need to fix that. And while I agree with that, what we didn't do is ever talk about, well, what does that mean for men, right?
Mm.
If masculinity is bad, what's the alternative, right? Well, everyone seems to want to go, masculinity means toxicity. Masculinity means oppression.
Dominance. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Not the right kind of masculinity. Masculinity is what I think most strong women admire, which is confident and supportive and listening and cooperating and collaborating and serving and helping. Those are not insults. Those are, when they're done with good intention, those are wonderful qualities. So it's been interesting as I've researched the book. I totally agree. I think men are confused. I think they're confused about who they are. And it's amazing how quickly that's happened. And we haven't really done much about it without getting into politics or anything like that. I think the book research that I've done, it's very clear. This is exactly what's happened. And I think in a very humble way that I can do a little tiny bit to fix that. Because most of the time when I get engaged with a man who has experienced some level of hardship after experiencing significant success, like they have a lot of money, they got a big house, they got a couple of nice cars, they go on vacations, but they're empty inside. It's like when I'm done, and it doesn't take long, a matter of hours, over the course of a number of weeks, many of them say to me, my optimism has returned, Mark. I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm clear on what to do now. And those sound very simple, but
Yeah.
and most men don't seem to be able to do that without some sort of advocacy from a third party, because we get in our own way. We get thoughts in our heads and we can't get them out. We don't look at the world clearly when we're emotional. No one does. I didn't.
Mm.
And I made all mistakes. I made all these bad decisions, and I just want to help a few guys, avoid those. So I agree with you.
Yeah. And I also think that the men, like, they don't express their emotions, and there's a lot of social debate on social media also, like men should be like this, they should not get into their feminine thing, and they need to stay men. And some people say that okay, men, like, they need to show their emotions, they are okay, it's okay to cry for them. I don't know what's the right approach or not, because I don't I mean, I have not explored that field a bit like more. uh, but this is like, it's all about men are seen as providers and protectors, and women are seen as receiving vessels. However, the West, I think it's coming from the West that the women are becoming more of their masculine self, and that's actually spoiling the equation. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. I don't think there's a one size fits all. I think we're all different.
Yeah.
Uh, I was, and I think this is again where my daughters have really helped me because they've given me the perspective of what it's like to walk down the street and feel in danger. I've never felt in danger. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", 230 pounds.
Oh, okay.
I don't walk around scared of much. And that could possibly just be ignorance. That could be foolishness on my part. But um, to understand more about that is to listen. What are you actually saying? Not the words, but what is the sentiment? What is the emotion? So, yeah, I don't think men, I think men are not encouraged to emote. I think men are encouraged to handle their own stuff. And, that's all well and good. I mean, personal accountability and fortitude and strength are great qualities. But to step out of this and say, and that's another thing why I'm grateful for my hardship in some capacity, because it brought me some humility, which I think allows me to talk about these things
Yeah.
in a much more helpful way. But the vast majority of men that I know, they don't want to talk about this stuff, which is one of my challenges. I'm like, yeah, I think you got to talk about this stuff if you want to
Yeah.
move where you are to where you'd prefer to be. And so, yeah, I really enjoy the work. I like to think I'm pretty good at it, mostly because of two things: my experience and because I care. And that shows up in my listening. But yeah, most men don't want to talk about this stuff.
Interesting. So, Mark, what do you think? Like, most men don't think that, like, success, like they are confused about success. And what do you think they lose most in the race of success and achievement?
Um, from the conversations I've had, I didn't when I was going through my stuff, I was responsible for three kids, one boy and two girls. And that was probably the youngest was probably 8 or 9, and the oldest was probably 14 or 15 at the time. Now they're in their late 20s and early 30s.
Okay.
And they're successful, and they're in relationships, and knock on wood, everything's going well. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have. Can you reframe your question one more time and remind me? I want to get to the specific answer.
Sure. So my question is that what do men lose, in the race of success and accomplishment?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think time with your kids. I tell young parents all the time, take a lot of pictures because they're going to be old fast. That childhood, you can't replace that time with your children. I spent a lot of time with my kids. I spent time with them collectively, and I spent time with them individually. And the car rides, the 2-hour car rides to the volleyball tournament where all you do is talk about life. I don't think a lot of men realize how valuable that time is. And I think they get busy and they're feeling the pressure of making more money and being successful in the eyes of the world. And they maybe lose sight of the fact that, that kid was 8 yesterday and now he's 18. That happened fast.
Yeah.
That's what I think most men lose.
Mm. Spending time with their families, like with their children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. You have built a few successful businesses, and they were like $75 million, I guess. This is what
Well,
I
75 million is a lifetime revenue figure.
Okay, okay.
The first company was sold for 5 million and the second company was sold for 4 million. So those were multiples of profit. But so to be concise, I've generated approximately $75 million in revenue as a business owner. Those are the two specific transactions.
So, what made you leave that entrepreneurship behind and step into the coaching world? I mean, specifically, I understand that you have empathy for men and you would like to help them and teach them to go their better ways. But what exactly is it that where the change happened? Like, what was that moment when you decided to get into the coaching industry?
Um, Necessity. I sold my second business under duress. My ex-wife was bothering my clients and bothering my employees, and she was doing some crazy stuff. And my partner came to me one day and said, I can't handle this noise anymore, dude. The economy's struggling and your life is a shambles. We got to get out of this. And I said, we agreed when we started the business 10 years ago, if ever one of us wanted to leave, we were either going to buy that person out or we were going to sell the company and split the proceeds. And that's what we decided to do. I regret that. But I don't think there was much I could do about it. I had to be fair to my business partner and my employees. And it was clear to me that this woman was not going to stop until the law made her stop. And so I put all of my energy into that, which put me in the position of being both father and mother to my kids. So I needed the mobility of just working with a laptop and a cell phone and be able to do it from anywhere. So I stopped the brick and mortar business. We sold it. All that money went to her. I lost everything. And so I decided I'm going to be a dad and a mom. And what does that mean for me in terms of paying the bills? Well, I'm going to take all that experience and I'm just going to become a coach. And instead of collecting a fee for helping someone find a new job, I'm going to help people move from a state of confusion and anxiety into a more optimistic, hopeful place. And when I started to message that to everyone, I realized very quickly, you have to pick a niche. You have to pick a slot. You can't sell to everyone or you'll sell to no,
Yes.
you know, and that's a classic marketing flaw that a lot, you know. So I picked men for all those reasons we discussed before. And I spent 7 years traveling around the country to volleyball tournaments because both my daughters were very good
Wow.
volleyball. And when they stepped on the court, they could forget about their family problems. And so it afforded me the flexibility that I needed. I was able to generate enough income to support our lifestyle. And now that the kids are grown, I'm at the next chapter. It's one of the reasons I'm no pun intended writing my book. But tell you that's why I made the transition. There's a lot of stories in there. I'm not sure which ones you want to talk about, but we don't have time to talk about all of them.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, I know that you have achieved a lot, like in business, and then you have been a single dad, was not an easy task, of course, and it must have taught you a lot of stuff, which we have not even discussed today. What vision is pulling you forward?
You know, I miss traveling, so I need to find the resources to get back with that. I've been dating now for 7 years, the same woman, and I didn't date at all for about 10 years because I didn't want to bring another stranger into the lives of my children. And so that's that part of my life, my personal relationship, the love of my life, if you will. And she also is a traveler and an outdoor person. So I want to engage that part of my life again. I want to see more of the world before I can't anymore. And so that everything is driving that. But I also feel, not to sound cliche, but I also feel compelled that this is what God wants me to do, to help men right now, because I can, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, traveling is a beautiful, beautiful adventure, I would say, because I solo travel a lot and I have seen the world like with different eyes every time, and it teaches me a lot. Like every time I go to a new place, it teaches me a lot about myself, about my own abilities, and of course, flaws.
It sure does. I think that, not to be stereotypical of Americans, but I think Americans, we live in our backyards. Most of us live in our backyards and never get out. And I learned that early because my dad was an airline pilot, and I traveled from a very young age to other countries and recognized when I got into high school or college that most of my peers didn't do that. I think, when I traveled around, I didn't bump into Americans as much. I bumped into Australians and Germans, people from Saudi Arabia, and everyone else in the world is traveling, and we're not. So I didn't recognize that until I got a little older. But it's kind of funny. I think, to your point, I think I can tell within about 5 minutes whether I'm talking to someone who's ever been out of their hometown or not.
Yeah.
It changes you. Yeah.
It changes you a lot. Yes. Mark, now I would like to play a game with you, which is called This or That. And this is one of my favorite games. And I love to play that with my guest on this show, like with this new version of it. So are you ready for it?
We'll see.
So just first instinct, you don't need to overthink it. I'm just giving you two options and you just need to pick one.
Okay.
Get ready for the ultimate challenge, this or that. Choose fast, trust your instincts, and let's go.
Respect or approval?
Respect.
Strength or vulnerability?
Strength. That's a hard one, though.
Power or responsibility?
Responsibility.
Control or self-mastery?
Self-mastery.
Being needed or being trusted?
Being trusted.
Winning or becoming?
Becoming.
Discipline or desire?
Discipline.
Comfort or integrity?
Integrity.
Leading others or leading yourself?
Leading yourself. I don't think you can lead others until you lead yourself. Yeah.
Legacy or lifestyle?
Legacy.
Amazing. So you played well. I don't have a hamper to give you right now. We are recording on Zoom virtually. So with that, well played. Thank you for being spontaneous with the answers. Mark, we're just coming towards the end of the show, and I like to ask these two questions to every guest. First is that if your life were a movie, and I believe that everybody's life is, so what is the name of your movie? What's the title?
One of my favorite phrases, I think, and that is that life can happen to you or life can happen for you. And it's a choice.
Mm.
That secondary title might be life is a choice. Everything's a choice,
Mm-hmm. If you would like to leave one message, if you would like to leave the world with one message, what would that be?
When life becomes challenging, I think that the best thing to do is to go inside and ask yourself, why did this happen? How can I keep it from happening again? And don't seek blame. Don't blame others or circumstances. It won't get you anywhere. Look inside.
Yeah. Blaming does not help anybody.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
easy to do. It's real easy
It's
to
easy,
do.
but that's a losing game.
It is. Totally.
Mark, how can men connect with you and work with you? Where can we find you and learn more about you?
My name, my name is my domain, Mark Aylward. So it's MarkAylward.com. And that'll get you to all my other online properties. My largest presence is on LinkedIn for obvious reasons. And I'm easy to find. If my name is fairly unique in the United States. It's kind of a British, Irish, Canadian trail. But over here, I think if you type in my name, my LinkedIn profile might pop up at number one. So
Wow.
that to keep it simple.
Yeah.
I do have a YouTube channel and I do have other properties and I do a lot of online content so that you can access for free. So anybody that might be listening that this message may have resonated with, you can get a lot of help from me without paying me. Although that would be nice as well eventually. But yeah, there's a lot of good free content, and most of it is around this topic of improving yourself professionally and personally.
Amazing. Thank you for your time and really enjoyed talking to you today.
Me too, man. Thank you so much for having me.
This is The Corporate Life. More stories, more insight, more truth. Until the next episode, stay curious. Don't forget to subscribe.